Now, earlier this month, Amazon Prime Video announced they are offering AI-aided dubbing in English and Spanish on select movies and series. Now, how does this move by the media giant affect production houses? And what do voice actors feel about the looming threat of AI that's becoming more and more real? We asked two titans in the voice acting industry, Rudolf Baldonado Jr. and Robi Joseph, who are joining us via Zoom. It's a beautiful day. Robi and Rudolf, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hi.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. I am so excited to have this conversation with you guys. Now, first and foremost, you are members of the Vocalliance Group, which is the community of voice actors here in the Philippines. Let's start with that. Can you tell us more about what Vocalliance is, how it supports the industry, and what it does for the voicing industry here in the Philippines?
Yeah, okay. I guess that question is directed to me. Well, I founded Vocalliance back in 2016. And we were tasked in the beginning to help standardize rates for the industry.
Okay.
And so we've also helped in legislation. We've acted as resource people for certain, what was it? I think it was the Freelancers Protection Act, and then some other bills. We work behind the scenes. You know, we offer workshops. We offer a lot of them are free. You know, and we also negotiate with multinationals, ad agencies. We do a lot of contract negotiations, that kind of stuff. A lot of these things are behind the velvet curtain. So we don't have a really prominent public-facing persona out there. So you don't really hear about us. But yeah, we're there, just working behind the scenes.
Now, you mentioned that you were able to help formulate some laws, policies that help the voicing industry. We were talking about that on the show before, my partners and I, Paolo and Monique, that now that AI has been changing the industry for us, right? Not just the voicing industry, but different other industries in the world. Do you think that we need laws to protect our rights as voice actors now that we are facing this digital age, the age of AI?
Well, absolutely. Right now, there's a big movement, not necessarily to regulate AI anymore. I mean, I think that's a foregone conclusion. I think now the thrust is really more towards creating protections. So there are certain laws that are being passed in the United States. I mean, we're late adopters, right? So we're just taking a wait-and-see approach and waiting to see how they're dealing with it before we start really tackling the subject matter and the problems. But there are things like the Elvis Presley Act in the States that I think is designed to protect the human voice. And then there's also the No Fake Act, No Fakes Act, that is also trying to build up certain guardrails for voice actors, for freelancers, for creatives, all that kind of stuff. So we're taking a wait and see approach and seeing what ideas we could probably borrow from those developments.
Rudolf, I want to talk to you because I'm a big fan of your SpongeBob work and, of course, your work with Trece. Of course, Rudolf, let's take a look at the fact that a lot of people are worried about AI. Anne tells us about it all the time. In fact, can I just say, she's so starstruck talking to the both of you that this is the most diction she's ever used on the show. This is the most amount of clarity I have gotten from her today. That is because you are both here. But now, with all that in mind, we were talking about AI a while ago. You did voice direction. And what do you feel is the thing that makes humans unique compared to anything AI has to offer here so far? And in terms of making that argument for those who think that, okay, I can just put the script on, put it on AI, and that's going to be good enough.
Yeah. Okay. Before I answer that, let's clarify something. The use of AI is primarily to support, to help, to assist. Because there are some things that, you need to do, but you're limited. Okay. I know that this is, some people will really argue with me about this, but the three main reasons for AI is that one, you have difficulty creating,
Yeah.
right? Let's just put it bluntly. You
Yes.
can't create as well as some people do, right? Two, the economics of it. It's cheaper. You can't afford a talent. You can't afford someone who has that talent, to create for you. And three, time, right? Time to do things, because things, when you create something, it needs time. You need to devote hours for it. But what if your deadline is like 2 days away and you can't possibly do it?
Which happens.
AI is there. It happens. Yes, it happens. Okay, so going back to how AI is affecting dubbing, I can say that we are still very lucky as far as Tagalog, Filipino dubbing is concerned.
Yeah.
It's because our language is one of the, if I'm using the term correctly, it's one of the minority languages,
Yeah.
right? No one is that interested in studying it, in making it, widespread, selling the language as an AI, in AI assisted tools, right?
Yes.
So no one has studied it yet in depth. And if they do, even if you ask linguists all over the world, the Tagalog language is so complex.
Yeah.
Each word has so much meaning, and the way you say it brings about all of those meanings. So to combine that in whatever AI tool you have right now, AI is going to go crazy. It's not going to sound natural. It's not going to sound right. So I'm not saying that we're not going to be affected. I'm saying that we are blessed with the limitations that AI has right now.
At the moment,
And
yeah.
it all
Yeah.
depends at the moment, yes. So it all depends on the talents, the linguists, and everyone who creates anything in dubbing or voice acting right now,
Yeah,
if they
Rudolph.
will make that available to the tool.
Yeah, I totally agree with
Yeah.
you when you said that AI is just there right now to assist. Because, right, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, they all offer features that can translate those languages using AI. So I think that could be a good thing in some cases. But hold on, before I ask you a question, I've never heard SpongeBob speak in Tagalog. So I want to ask you
Oh
to
my
do a
goodness, I'm
sample.
so sorry about this, Rudolph. You were not prepared
Like,
for this.
I had no idea SpongeBob could talk Tagalog. So I want to hear how Bikini Bottom sounds like in Tagalog.
Oh, sample.
Rudolph is actually our official SpongeBob here in the Philippines.
Yeah, he is. He
Rudolph,
is. You can hear
I
it.
want to hear it, please.
Magandang umaga!
Oh my goodness.
my
You know
it
what?
works.
You know what, Rudolph? Parang ayaw natin yun, tayong mga voice actors. When people tell us to sample nga, sample, we really don't.
I know.
Iba yung example ko kay Robi sana kasi fan ko ng Acafelas
I know y'all don't like it, but I had to hear what SpongeBob sounded like in Tagalog. Anyway, Rudolph, have you
okay.
had
Yeah, go ahead.
any connection? Because most people, they love to put a face to the name, even if it's just dubbing. But have you had any connection with any of the characters that you've done?
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob. How come?
Okay. As a voice actor, I was never like Robbie, the star voice actor with all the voices.
No.
I started as a translator. And sometimes my director would tell me, oh, you try dubbing some of the incidentals, the crowds. So I was like monster number 2, crowd number 1. And then when Nickelodeon started selling licenses to their shows, to TV5 back then, they held auditions. And so when actually I was forced to audition.
Forced to audition.
Nobody forced to audition because the audition was running like for 3-4 weeks already, and they haven't found a SpongeBob. So that's number 1. I was the odd man out. I was part of a group of dubbers who were like trying to put up something like Vocal Alliance back then. And the director came to us and said, I'm running out of dubbers. Can you please all audition? And I was the very last one. So like nobody suspected that I would get the part or something. So and then number 2, SpongeBob is like a crazy oddball that doesn't have any like patterns.
Yeah.
If you watch the show, he's just like going crazy every time, a different reaction. So when I auditioned, I approached it that way. All of the other dubbers had a formula of how to read lines. And I was like, no, just throw it out there, just throw the lines like SpongeBob would. And I was still in college back then. I was studying BA Theater Arts. So that came in handy, being the actor on stage. So yeah, I can relate so much to him. And I just had so much fun doing him for 11 years.
Wow.
Now, Robbie, on the other hand, is a voice talent, right, Robbie? You are a voiceover artist.
He's a voice.
And you have been voicing
voice.
most of the commercials that we hear every single day on radio, on TV. Now, Robbie, this is something that AI cannot easily replicate, the nuances in your voice, right? How do you change your voice, adapt it to what the client wants, what the project needs?
Okay. I also am the voice of Nickelodeon, by the way. I've been the voice of Nickelodeon Asia for the past 20 years or so.
Yeah, I remember. Okay.
Yeah. And so I got a lot of my practice from there. But when it comes to commercials, every brand has its unique personality, right? And so my first step is to like immerse myself in that identity. I consider the brand value, the target audience, and the tone that they wish to convey. And I try to align myself with the character brief. The most important thing in commercial voice acting or in advertising is authenticity. So I try to just be myself for the most part, or at least different versions of myself. Okay, if a brand requires me to sound confident and authoritative, I have to draw that side of me that is confident and authoritative. I'm not pretending to be someone that I'm not. And for Nickelodeon, I have to be the energetic, with the dial turned up, very playful, and that's still who I am. So yeah, I mean, it's just different versions of myself.
You know what I love about that is because there is a creative process involved in actually creating the voice, creating the character. Sometimes even when you do have the script, you feel like perhaps there's a way to play with it. I mean, like given your background especially, I know you did theater back in the day. I know you're a spiritual advisor in the sense that you tell people what to drink.
Because that's a family business.
Yeah. By the way, he also is a wine connoisseur. Just so you know.
Yes.
Shout out to
His
Ralph's.
family, actually.
And then let's take a look at the fact that you have a lot of outlets to be creative. And when people take a look at voice acting, when people take a look at VO work in particular, sometimes they feel they don't understand what type of creativity can go into it. Do you feel that would be the biggest weapon of voice artists, VO artists, in terms of trying to make sure that they are a step ahead of AI?
Well, okay. I mean, it really is a creative pursuit, right? In every sense of the word. Voice acting is acting. So we do everything that a theater or TV actor does. We just do it behind the microphone
Yes,
and
behind
away
the
from
scenes,
prying
yeah.
eyes, away from the public, and that's how a lot of us really just enjoy it. I mean, because there's no baggage involved when it comes to the baggage of fame that we have to deal with. But in terms of the art itself, it's a we're highly specialized communicators. Okay? And what we do for a living is we I don't want to say manipulate. We try to motivate people. We try to elicit a certain response from our audience, from our listeners, from the viewers, and we do it in a very calculated way. And there's a lot of technique that's involved, and a lot of what Rudolph also mentioned a while ago about being in the moment,
Right, right,
being
right.
authentic, and that is a uniquely human quality.
Yeah, Robbie, I'm sorry to cut you off. We're
Yeah.
running a bit out of time, but I wanted to
yeah.
throw this question, to you and to Rudolph as well. I
Sure.
saw this reel. I don't know if you saw this as well, of Hank Azaria, the voice of Simpsons. He actually compared his delivery to the AI voice, right? Doing his lines for his characters on The Simpsons, and he was able to note those certain nuances that the AI voice was not able to replicate. But when I had this discussion with fellow voice actors, we were worried because we have this technology now, and it's just a matter of closing that gap between how awkward AI sounds now to perfecting the technology and making it sound exactly like us. So, what are your thoughts on this? And how can we future-proof our careers, now that we have AI in the picture?
Oh, okay. You want to start, Rudolph, or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's start with Rudolph.
Okay, Rudolph.
Oh, okay, okay. We have to be a step ahead. We're humans. We're the source of all the creativity. Let me just say that I've always assumed that this fear comes from the misconception of voice acting or voice work is simply imitating. A lot of professionals, even the ones who have a lot of rackets or have a jobs, says that they started imitating people and they started having patterns, and the way they speak, the way they communicate, and because it's a pattern, that's what gets them jobs. And that's what AI is doing actually. It's imitating. It's doing what these people have been doing in voice work. People who don't understand the requirement of acting and communicating. So people who have just been imitating are the ones who are really scared.
Right.
But people who are genuinely communicating, creating, and have mastered that art of not even thinking about nuances, just coming up with them because they know how to communicate and how to act, they know that no technology can imitate them as of the moment.
Right.
But it's now a question of, do you want AI technology or the people behind it have access to that creativity?
Right. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So it's under our control actually.
Right.
Robbie,
It is a
Okay.
threat, but we can control it.
Yeah, I want to add to that. I think people who leverage AI as a tool to amplify their skills instead of using it as a crutch will experience more growth and innovation. I think the ones who are really at risk in our industry are the voice actors who undervalue themselves and constantly accept below standard rate.
Yeah.
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 Because the kinds of clients that they cater to are not the kinds that value authenticity or I mean, they were never concerned about quality in the first place, or building relationships and all that kind of stuff that comes with a business. So, they're choosing AI instead because it's even cheaper, and that's all that really matters to them. But we see a lot of ad agencies, big ad agencies, and even big clients who are using AI, but mostly for ideation and the iteration process. But final output is still human driven for the most part.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Robbie, Rudolph, sorry I had to cut you off there, Robbie, because I'm
No
running out of time. But then I
Sure.
just want to congratulate you on your work because, if I'm not mistaken, voice actors actually are one of the few freelance performers or freelancers out there who actually do have a calculator for their rates that they can
Yes.
access online.
That's
and
true.
and I suggest that any prospective voice actors go look that up, because honestly, you probably are the only industry I'm talking about in terms of creatives who actually have an online calculator for free that helps keeps your rates and standards up. All right, so first of all, congratulations. Rudolph, thank you so much for being here with us. Robbie, you don't know this, but we almost spent Valentine's Day together over in Boracay but MJ Aoki forgot to invite you to dinner to join us. So, but that's
Maybe next
okay.
year.
Well, I'll see you next Valentine's Day. And we
right.
really wish we could have you here in studio next time around. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you very much. Voice actors Rudolf Baldonado Jr. and Robi Joseph.